Kyna Frazier, and I will be demonstrating how to make worms in dirt. Now, knowing how to make worms in dirt can help us sometimes in our life. At some point, we're going to ask ourselves, what is something fun and creative I can do any time of the year with any age group? And worms in dirt is the perfect solution. Now, I don't want you to go outside and get a bunch of dirt and get some worms and mix them together, because, I don't think people want to eat that. Instead, I'm going to show you how to make the dessert, worms in dirt. So some of the ingredients you're going to need is a pack of worms, or gummy worms, a whole package of Oreos, all smashed into bits. You can use a rolling pin, a hammer, or even your hands. You need a box of chocolate pudding, 2 cups milk, whipped topping, and anything you want to decorate with. Now to start, we're going to put our pudding, make all the pudding. So mix your pudding with your 2 cups milk. Oh, you don't want to drop that in. So stir together using a whisk until you have no clumps left. Now you want to make sure this is really well blended, or else your pudding is going to taste a bit funky. So once you have that all mixed together, let it set for 5 minutes. Since I have a bit of a time limit, I have some pre-made pudding. So now in this pudding, you're going to mix all of your whipped topping in. Now I know sometimes it's hard to get all of it, so just try your best to get as much as possible. Oh, gotta be careful not to make too much of a mess right here. Okay, so it's easier if you mix a little bit of this in to begin with. And then once you get at least partially mixed, you want to add half your Oreos. So I just divided my Oreos into 2 baggies. So I made sure I had exactly half, because you're going to need half for later on. So you want to make sure you get pretty close to half of the whole package of Oreos. Now when mixing your Oreos or crushing them, you don't have to worry about having some bigger clumps, because, dirt's big clumps and small clumps. And don't worry about your icing, because the cookie bits are going to stick together, so your icing is not going to stick to other things. So now, since your pudding is really dark and your Cool Whip is really light, you're going to get a really light dirt, which is totally okay. So now you just want to make sure you have no dark pudding left, and make sure you have none of the white from the Cool Whip showing. Now, if you don't like chocolate pudding, like some people don't, you could use vanilla pudding too, and you could just call it sand and dirt. Now, I still have some chocolate mixed in. You really want to make sure you scrape the bottom of the bowl, because that's where all the chocolate pudding needs to sit. And then if it's not stirred very well, people tend to notice when they eat it. So, when it's all mixed in, and make sure you get your Oreo clumps nice and mixed in too, because you don't want them just one spot in your pan. So it should look a bit something like this when you're done, kind of really lumpy and stuff. So next, you want to get an 8x8 bowl, or glass dish. Now, if it's an 8x8, make sure it's a bit thicker, but if you use like a 9x9, it doesn't have to be as thick. It's also better to use a square pan instead of a round pan, because a round pan's not going to hold as much. So now get as much as possible of this into your bowl. Oh, so you can see right there, I didn't quite mix it in all the way. So just get it all nice and in there. Alright, so once you have most of this in here, just spread it across and make sure you get all the corners, because people never can get the corners all the way. And so you want to make sure it's pretty nice and even. If it's not all the way even, don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so then take your gummy worms. I'm using sour gummy worms, but you could use plain gummy worms if you want. So just put these gummy worms just all over. Just be warned, if you use sour gummy worms, you can have a bit of a different taste than if you use regular gummy worms. So now take your spoon and kind of push these in part of the way. Now they don't have to be all the way in. You want a little bit of them showing. And then don't use up all your gummy worms quite yet. So now you want to take your Oreos and spread these on top. Okay, and I'm going to try to get as much as possible out of the bag, because you don't want to be short on your Oreos right here. And if you even want to, you can put a little bit extra Oreos in the top, and you don't have to have quite half in the inside mix. So now spread your Oreos all over the top, and try to get in the corners everywhere else until you see it's pretty even. Then take your gummy worms and put some more on top. Just squeeze these in partially too. We'll push them in. Then you can decorate it any way you want. So I could just add some pumpkins for the fall season. Oops. And then just add some frosting all around. Okay. Then just put this in the fridge for an hour. It'll come out nice and cool, but it'll look exactly like this. But it'll be warmer and cooler. And so now you have something fun and creative you can do any time of the year for any person. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your Worms of Dirt.
There, see. Come on, clap.